Thanks, Gwen.
Hey, so we're finally getting around to blues after taking forever to do so.
Yeah, we don't do commentaries that much. Honestly, it's weird we're doing this one as quickly after we did the last chapter commentary for Writer's Reign.
Yeah. I guess we are getting busier on this between that and posting Six Stone Mage thing.
Yeah. Stretching. Okay. The weird part is I don't know, like, if we'll ever be able to do Black Princess, since I would really want to have Abe on board with it. I don't know if we could set that up.
Yeah.
Either way, though, yeah, Blue Blood Heroes started in 2011. 5 years. Wow. Any memories like from starting this one off?
I do find it kind of funny. I've been running this long whenever it kind of started earlier than was intended to begin with.
Yeah, because the original idea was that I was the original artist for Writer's Reign, which was going to run solo. Like it was just that for a while, but then it was decided that at chapter 7 of Writer's Reign, I would leave. We would get another artist for it, and we would because the idea was just I couldn't do both comics at once. I remember very distinctly the moment when I figured, like, hey, I think I could do like 4 comics a week, and I could run both of these comics at the same time, and like I was like walking to my car. It was my freshman year of college. I was walking to my car, and I was just looking at the sky. And I was thinking, like, yeah, I could do it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And then for a while, I came doing 6 comics a week, but
yeah, that whole fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, who came up with this cover, the original cover?
I think it was my idea because I'm wanting to say it was like 4 or 5 chapters in before you had a blues cover idea.
Yeah, because it was really hard to. It was really hard for me for a while to come up with covers, but I've gotten better at it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just. I think we both wanted something that was like, just the kids kind of relaxing in front of the building, like out of costume.
I need to figure out how to edit the HTML on this thing so you can just click on the image.
Yeah, that'd be nice to have.
Because it'd make this whole process a lot easier in its own right.
Oh yeah. Plus, we have Jake not really connected with things, but just kind of walking by.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's dive in. I remember being fucking terrified the first day I did this. Like, I remember, like, my heart was in my throat all through the way in which it was drawing this first page. Like, I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. And this was after we had done it. Like, I think the first chapter and the prologue for Writer's Reign, so I just, like, felt so nervous. Like, this was a big fucking deal for me.
I have no idea how to do this.
Maybe you should hold that for later, because I feel like I really don't want to do all this solo.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. It felt like it'd be a quick thing. I would just need to figure out how exactly I did it on War, and I just can't find it in its code.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll worry about it later. Whatever.
I actually remember being really stunned by just the coloring job that you went with for the center itself, because it was very, something that just really did surprise me. I did not expect this much blue, but I really loved it.
Yeah. The color job in the center is kind of interesting, and the fact that, like, by now the color scheme's, like, actually really wildly different.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a gradual slide there.
Yeah, but it's like that for pretty much all the characters. Like, it's like that for all the sections of art.
Yeah.
We opened with plot exposition news.
Yeah.
How fucking lame is this?
I'm reminded of the, with the old way of, like, coloring in paint, which is something I have no intention of ever doing again.
No.
The, like, old way of doing that, I'm reminded how it took forever to color anything.
Yeah. Well, this was before that, though. This was back when it was relatively quick. Well, relatively quick, because, like, toward the end, one of the big reasons we had to quit was, like, we had to even out everything.
Yeah.
We'd, like, sand everything down to be smooth and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in Mondo Studio, there's a degree of that I have to do, but it's not anywhere near what it used to be.
Oh no, no.
But yeah, so yeah, whenever it came time to start Blues or whatever, like it actually built up like a huge backlog for a while.
Yeah, because I think you had this first page done, and then I think we were like halfway through the page before like you just suddenly did all of them at once.
Yeah. Then also I just noticed a missed bit of coloring behind like the pipe there.
Yeah, yeah.
Where'd she get that pipe?
Was that?
Where'd she get that pipe?
I know. I was just wondering that. Like, yeah, that was random. I just need some way of showing. And where does it go in the last panel?
Yeah.
I just need some way of showing that she was super strong. And just the Black Exposition news is really lazy because I don't know. On the other hand, like in a lot of X-Men like adaptations or even X-Men original stories, they never really explain what mutants are or kind of where they come from. Because it's an X-Men story, you're just kind of supposed to expect it to know what they are.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's something we've both kind of wished they would do for Batman for a while now, because every single film insists on telling us his origin story.
At least Batman vs Superman just did over it quickly.
The fact that they had to do it at all, man, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, there was still no reason to do it at all, but it's like, at least got it out of the way quick.
Something.
Granted, it would be nice to see more do the Civil War thing, where it's like, okay, yeah, there's Spider-Man. We don't need to tell you who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, pretty much. It did admittedly feel kind of weird that he didn't do the power and responsibility line.
To be fair, they didn't do it in the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Andy and Lore were basically.
Was this the first Daredevil effect?
Yes, I think it was. I don't think we ever did it in Daredevil in Rider's Reign. But we just.
Oh wait, no, actually, I think it was done during the. I think it was done during the fight scene in the bank.
Oh.
I just can't remember which one was actually drawn first.
Yeah. But this was the. Oh, it must have been Rider's Reign, because I'm pretty sure we had that fully drawn before. Like that first chapter was drawn before we did. Before we started Blues.
Yeah.
But this effect of just like showing the after images and like everything in progress, we just basically call that the Daredevil effect, because that's what my brain goes to for it. Because Frank Miller in the Daredevil books, in his Daredevil run, like did that so well. But,
I kind of like to get like a more recent shot of that just to demonstrate how far it's not come.
Yeah, if you can like dig one.
Yeah, I know the one that I know.
Okay. I think I know which one you're talking about too. The Crime Cure one.
Oh no, I was thinking like the most recent one since it. Further on,
your Skype is really breaking up. Fucking great. Oh, yes, there it is.
Yeah, I have this really annoying tendency with my computer. Like, if it hits the slightest light at all in any program, it just disconnects everything.
There's no Daredevil effect in this picture.
Oh, I linked you to the wrong one. Sorry. The couple pages before that.
Okay. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that was really good. It's like falling, but it just looks so much more majestic with the Daredevil effect. We always just love doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this was kind of just where the entire like idea of everything started. I think Lore and Andy were the main idea going into this.
Yeah.
Like they were, well, those two and I think Grant were probably the ones that I had like the most clear idea on.
Yeah.
So it made sense to sort of start with those two.
It's actually kind of funny because by now I would say Andy's probably one of the ones that kind of drifts more.
And define drifts.
Well, I mean, just like he seems to have a little bit less of a concise like character direction.
Yeah, it kind of does. But I think like he works for the way he is, which I think was established really early on in here, just like intentionally being the comic relief and like trying to really like diffuse serious situations with humor, because Laura's always like really kind of prone to depression. I like how he's always just trying to kind of keep her out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good character introduction. Like, it kind of establishes the two of them in, like, the situation pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. That said, like I honestly don't think this is a really good start to the comic.
Yeah. It could have been structured a little better.
It really could have been. Admittedly,
it probably would have worked better if it were, like, past this stuff and just that kind of thing, or like if you like saw them during like their initial like examinations or something.
Yeah. It's really just a big reason. Is just it's kind of hard to really do everything with like it's just kind of hard to introduce everything in a team book.
Yeah.
Especially when the team are not really that associated with each other to begin with.
Yeah.
And
plus, I mean, it was kind of a learning experience in general. You haven't really done something like this before this.
Oh yeah, like I hadn't. Really
like to go back and do it again now, there's so much stuff about writing I have to do differently.
Oh yeah. But Blair and like, God, seeing the parents.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird because the parental guardians of these characters do not show up that much, and I think when I was first writing the book, I had like when I was first setting things up, I had this idea that they would kind of pop up a lot, but it's just you have to make time for it.
Yeah. Honestly, for not living there or anything, I would say they're actually probably fairly common.
Yeah.
But by no means are they like in every chapter kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think Andy's parents have shown up like 3 times, including this first chapter.
Yeah.
It's like
probably.
Which is like that's really like barely any screen time. I don't think they have.
Yeah, Lori'd barely be more than that.
Yeah, Laurie just had like 1 cameo that put her over it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, God, Mega Studio was the best thing to happen to Glasses.
Yeah.
Because this was before we had Mega Studio to do the artwork. This was the best I could do for fucking Glasses.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare. It was either this or do like Ted from El Guna Shive, like totally opaque Glasses.
Yeah.
And Dr. Stick said, one thing I've always been really concerned about for her is like if people would assume I was parodying Professor X, but even though that's never really what I was going for with her.
Yeah.
Like, I always just had her bald because I think bald chicks are kind of hot.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about it that's like really appealing.
Yeah, and I kind of like the even from the Ditto here, there's a certain like trashiness to her look.
Yeah, because the idea with her, which I don't think we really, it's been implied but never really gone into, is that she's kind of like, she used to be kind of like a punk, kind of like a punk rebel rocker chick, kind of.
Yeah.
Like she never really got past it, but not in a kind of cool way, and kind of like a bitchy fuck you kind of way. Is it weird that I'm swearing on commentary for this comic?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Shit. Huh.
That just makes it worse.
Well, fuck it. I'm not. It's out there. I'm not gonna restop recording. We've already been going for 13 minutes.
Yeah. Well, try to watch it in the future. Yes.
I guess.
This is Blue's the X-rated version.
Wait until we get to the chapter commentary for Tangled Up in Blue. I'll read all of Decay Conductor's uncensored lines.
Yeah. See, now I'm actually kind of wondering how Stitz would click with Hearst.
Say again?
So now I'm kind of wondering how Stitz would click with Hearst, because of the fact that, honestly, they're kind of similar.
Yeah, they kind of are. I don't know, Stitz is supposed to also be kind of a coward, so I don't know, like, I get the feeling actually being with Decay Conductor would kind of freak her out.
I said Hearst.
Oh, Hearst. Oh, That's a good question. Yeah, I have no idea how those two would get along.
Though, granted, an idea with Hearst, which I think I've communicated this decently, but it does feel like it could go be gone into more than it has.
Yeah.
Is just that she's supposed to be just kind of like naturally antisocial.
Yeah. Yeah, Stick says just kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
This whole moment with...
Oh, and also there, Andy's mom's eyes. There you go.
Oh, yeah, Andy's mom is like... I think he just threw this in as just like, oh, what the hell, right?
Essentially, it was just like, it'd make her design more interesting.
Yeah, like, and just... Something about it was just really cool.
Yeah.
I'm amazed I'm not cringing more at this artwork than I am.
Yeah.
Granted, it's better with the kids involved. Like, the grown-ups look really, really off. The kids, not quite so much.
Yeah.
You can probably tell, like, by this point I had more experience with kids than with grown-ups, and even though the kids don't exactly look that great either.
Yeah. I kind of wonder at what point would be the best time to go into, like, Andy's, like, how Andy's hair is just kind of mutated throughout the course of the comic.
Oh, God, yeah, Andy's hair, like, we could probably do, like, a little thing about, like, the way in which it shifted, because it got like really, really weird, and then you had to say like, Adam, I think you need to pull it back, and so I actually had to do that.
Yeah.
Now I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Because there for a while he kind of had like a pompadour going on.
Kind of, yeah. Which is weird for me to say, because I think pompadours are really fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this moment with Lori, this is like a big sign of like, I really expected Lori to have a bigger role than she does.
Yeah.
But she never. I'm like, holy fuck, that is thin. Oh, Christ, this artwork. There it is.
Yeah.
I think originally in the script, she's giving her a bow, and she wears the bow for like most of the comic, but like, I think originally it was supposed to be like her stuffed pony.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think I just changed it like in the process of drawing it, just because like, fuck, this is easier to draw. Yeah.
It would have been in the process of drawing it because Laura had it in the earlier pages.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Maybe I just forgot it in the earlier pages, and that was a way to add whatever. Ah, Christ. I just really kind of want to get past the scenes with the adults, just to get past that weird thing with the art.
Yeah.
The stick set shows her real colors as a bitch, like as soon as she's alone.
Yeah. Honestly, if anything, it feels like to a degree she's eased off since then.
Kind of, yeah, but I tried to. I think I was making her like way too heavy on that, so I just tried to make her like kind of professional and not really liking the administrative points of her job.
Yeah.
Like, I get the feeling like she is a really big expert on the blue gene, but she just is she doesn't really like kids, she doesn't really like being a headmistress, she doesn't like any sort of teaching duties.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything else about her job is pretty terrible for her.
Yeah. I gotta say, it's kind of starting to make sense to me how long the war video came out.
How long the what now?
The war, like the first war commentary was.
Yeah.
It's starting to make sense to me how long that is.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to blaze through on this.
Yeah.
Oh, it took forever to figure out who Andy's, for us to, like, just to figure out who Andy's roommate was.
Yeah.
Because you go for a long time knowing nothing about Andy's roommate other than the fact that they don't get along, and just because I had no really ideas for him that I liked.
Yeah. That said, the idea that it was that it was Vincent was the ice kid.
Yeah.
That was decided on a long time before it actually came up in the comic.
Yeah, that was awkward. Like, it just never really came up.
Yeah. Jared, I think there were a couple like throwaway lines at least pointed in that direction.
I think so, I don't recall.
Well, I'm reminded whenever at a point we were going to have, like, we didn't remember what Vincent's last name was.
Oh, yeah.
So we kicked around when we Vincent Ice.
Yeah, but then, like, I think one of our readers said, like, oh, no, you said his name is Vincent Dorian.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I find it funny that across these comments there are 3 different people with that last name.
Huh. Okay, that's random.
Yeah. There's him, there's Ellen, and there's Narciso.
Huh.
Narcisso's is spelled differently, but... Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder how him and Ellen are related. I mean, ice, water.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. Honestly, it seems like it's something we should explore, but anyway, yeah, okay, Dr. Stickset probably does this to all the new students, but I think she probably is a little bit more professional about it.
Yeah.
Not openly contentious.
I do try to get the sense that they probably just taught her on a bad day.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Just I do kind of like how in the this will have more point for whenever we get to that one, but the examination chapter.
Oh yeah.
Like I like how that one. It's like yeah, she's still like all petty and all that.
Yeah.
But she's a lot more professional about it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I missed that big chunk of freaking border. It was so easy to fit.
There's that. Oh, I don't see it.
What?
I don't see it offhand.
Oh, no, it's the page with Jenny.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah. And here we start the fucking hug running gag.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know if we could if we could honestly do this. I honestly expected this would be something like, oh, I'll probably forget about this after chapter 5. But no, we've kept this consistent.
There was one chapter where we didn't realize we hadn't done it until after it had been finished drawing, so we had to edit it in.
Yeah, but like this was like, but that page hadn't been premiered yet. It had been drawn, but not like it hadn't gone up yet.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a last minute thing, but like we've kept this consistent. Every single chapter, Jenny hugs somebody. And
yeah.
like, I remember you pointing out this is kind of a Genkai thing for her to do. This honestly isn't the best introduction to her. Then again, she is kind of Genkai. I mean, like, she's kind of Genki? How the fuck do you say that? Fucking Skype. Have I lost you, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some sort of lag here.
Oh, right, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you get this.
Okay.
Alright then.
Alright. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, our setup isn't the best.
No,
There's a reason I went to complain about my computer earlier.
It's an off. I think the connection is kind of off tonight.
Yeah.
Figures. But
So in general, Jenny does strike me as a little weird. Also, her hair's like way droopier than usual in this chapter.
I know, like before, like after this, like her hair gets like really perky because I kind of designed the hair to look sort of like bunny ears.
Yeah.
He's between like the super speed, the gigantic legs, which are not really that fucking big in this one. But she's supposed to have
I think that was a later thing, really.
No, it was always a page 1 thing that like her the idea.
Well, I mean, whenever we really started emphasizing it.
Oh, emphasizing it, yeah, but like it was always a page 1 thing that Jenny would have like. If her legs were normal size, she would be about the same height as Andy, but her legs are like freakishly muscular and like really long, which don't show up here. They show up in the later artwork.
Yeah.
Which I always just thought that was like kind of a neat way to emphasize super speed.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, kind of. This is kind of a Genkai thing to do, and she is sort of like a Genkai girl in a lot of ways. Like she is trying to keep everyone like very perky and like make sure everyone's all right. Yeah. It's sort of more along the lines.
In general, Jenny seems to just kind of have some like weird quirks bubbling under the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, we should honestly try to explore that some more. We got some stuff planned for her that would probably be a good like chance to do so.
Yeah.
I think she's overly attached to people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually do have some of the ideas on her that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Jesus God. Look at this one. The artwork in this is just fucking... Okay. Let me just say that one of the bigger problems with this chapter is that Jake is very, very hard to work in.
Yeah.
Because the idea has always been that, like, the 6 kids get together at the school, and Jake is not working at the school, he's working, like, he gets his job at the school over the course of the first chapter.
Yeah. Honestly, it probably would have been more natural, right?
Yeah.
Had he just happened to have been having his first day at the same time.
Yeah, that probably would have been better. At the same time, though, it kind of does fit with Jake's character. The part of the idea on Jake's character is that shit just kind of happens to him randomly,
Yeah.
and like, he just has a chance of stumbling into very bizarre things, and like I do kind of like the idea that he gets the job by stumbling onto a supervillain fight.
Yeah. Sure, honestly, that's a pretty good setup for some of the stuff coming with him.
True. Yeah, the character was like, yeah, it's just really hard to work, and that was the big problem because none of these characters kind of like, okay, these three, Andy, Jenny, and Lore, all kind of start lumped together, and to a lesser extent Valerie, Nikki, and Grant, but they're not really, they're still sort of starting apart from each other, and that's hard to do.
Yeah. Also, wow, initially Heather looks like a way off model.
I know, right? But that was kind of the idea with her, is like her hair would be like kind of cropped short because it was constantly being burned off.
I mean, not even like color-wise.
Oh yeah, we made her like way redder,
Yeah.
especially the eyes.
Yeah. I was hoping I had that student body list thing.
And say again?
I said I was hoping I had that student body list so I could consult it on something, but I don't offhand.
On who Lily and Tiffany are.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I think, eventually became Ruby.
Yeah, I knew that much. I was trying to remember who Lily was.
I want to say she's that plant girl we keep seeing.
Faint. It just makes me wonder, okay, so who's Tiffany then? If we gave her powers to Ruby, then...
Yeah, Tiffany was, like, before we started, we had, like, a list of, like, characters in the school that we wanted to work in, and, like, almost none of them made it.
Yeah.
But,
a few did. A few of them have hung around but not actually done anything.
Yeah. Tiffany was originally, like... There was this one recurring extra who the fans decided to name Ruby, and I think she was originally going to be Tiffany, but that's just who she wound up being, like, through some sort of random happenstance. And the idea for Tiffany was that she could give herself diamond skin, kind of like, what's her fucking name from the... Emma Frost.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, her name was Ruby instead, so it's just like, fuck it, she gives herself Ruby skin.
And honestly, it was also going to have a degree of some overlap with what the Nora wound up being. Because it was going to be kind of creepy because you'd, like, see her innards.
Yeah, because, like, it was, like, really clear diamond, so you could see, like, her organs and her brain, her heart pumping.
Yeah. So, like, it was going to be, like, this, like, sweet little girl or whatever who just had this, like, really creepy looking power.
Yeah.
And that went to Lenore, so...
Yeah. Who... I'm looking forward to seeing her, because she's a character that popped up and was very different. I will say, like, as weird as it was to, like, work all these characters in together, I did like the touch that Jenny was already friendly with Valerie.
Yeah.
Like, they're not, like, best friends or anything, but I like that she was still able to say, like, oh, hi, Valerie, these are my new roommates.
I get the sense that Jenny's pretty much, like, the first person to greet every new arrival.
Oh my god, and there's Ruby!
Yeah, nice.
What the fuck are Goldie and Jill?
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh, hey, there was Lilith, which that's to be kind of a complication with some ideas I had.
Wait, where's... Oh, yeah. Wait, who was Lilith again? What was her...
Lilith was the shapeshifter.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah. Okay, long and short was in a side project that was going to have Lilith turn up, kind of retold.
Yeah, shit. Maybe she's just been there all along.
Maybe.
Oh, wow. We already get hints that... a big inspiration for Valerie's character was Worf from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess in one of her first scenes, she's already making a Star Trek reference, because that's why she's a Star Trek and, like, science fiction buff in story.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that just all, like, maybe Heather just, like, let out a bunch of fire, like, directly before we saw her here or something.
I guess.
Even there, she was doing the arms over her chest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just looks, like, really different here.
Yeah. But that was also another, like, constant idea with her.
Where did Nicky come from? Does he just kind of suddenly jump around right next to her?
You see him in this one.
Huh. Yeah, I know that. I was just saying, like, you see him standing there, and then he's just suddenly directly on top of her.
Good point.
Like,
he should have been, like, peeking in this third chapter, and then been there in the fourth.
Yeah.
I kind of do like that Valerie isn't even turning to look at him.
Yeah.
Like, that's something my siblings would do to me.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. There's Lenore.
Yeah. Okay, funny thing on Lenore.
Yeah.
The reason she has the color scheme she does is because in first color in this page I thought she was Grant.
The weird, like, one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, speaking on the coloring, like, because we had mentioned, like, earlier that, the coloring, like, it's, these pages were just sitting for a while and colored, and so a consequence of that is that when Martin colors these things, he can usually let me know if there's, like, any inconsistencies that he picks up.
Yeah.
Because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But because this was sitting for so long, like, I was just keeping going in the dark, and to, like, and then he colored all these at the same time. It's just like, you know, whether or not the characters are wearing socks is really changes from one panel to another.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh shit, because up until that point I had just been going nuts because it hadn't been pointed out, so I wasn't paying any attention to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a weird thing. Lenore is in almost every single chapter of Blues, like, including this, like, usually as just, even if it's just in, like, a minor background cameo.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing on Lenore is, like, she is not an extra we had anything planned for in advance.
No, but we just really loved her. Like, there was something about her that just kind of made us laugh.
Yeah.
And,
like, they eventually hit on the name and powers and expanded her role a bit, came up with ideas for her personality.
Yeah, just kind of because we just liked drawing her. And, like, she just kind of kept, something about her design and everything just kind of kept giving us ideas.
Yeah.
And there's Eileen, who took forever for us to actually name.
Yeah.
Because I guess that pun is just that clever.
I'm going to assume her powers anytime she walks in a room, come on Eileen starts playing.
God damn it.
I remember she had natural power, I just don't remember what it was offhand. We actually have like a full like student body list of like all the extra.
Yeah, all of these like minor characters that you see in the school in the backgrounds, we have tracked down, we have given names to, and we have given powers to.
Yeah. That said, we probably should have paid more attention to like the names on the doors.
Yeah, that's one part that kind of went under the radar.
Yeah.
We might have to revise that list given that.
Yeah.
Weird thing is, like, I think for the outside of the dorm rooms, we see the girls section a lot. I think for the dorm period, we see the most is Grant and Nikki's.
Yeah, it seems to be like the go-to.
Yeah. Even at the end of the chapter.
I don't know, it feels like we see Jenny and Lord a bit too.
True. I'll say that I do kind of like the way that Grant and Valerie are drawn throughout the first couple of chapters. Like, I think out of all the characters, they're the ones who come out the strongest.
Yeah.
And
there's Devil Boy with his disappearing leg out of frame there.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, honestly, like, the original idea was that he was going to be like a humanized version of Pikachu, but I tried to do the ears with his hair, but they came out looking like devil horns.
Yeah.
So he just became like, oh, devil. Child.
And then I think at a point this character was going to be like kind of what Lenore wound up being.
I don't think he was like as harmless as Lenore.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Lenore is like she looks creepy. She's actually like pretty much gentle and everything.
Yeah. But it's like on a certain level, like the token dark one.
Yeah. Which, when you say it like that, Martin, really comes off fucking...
I'm 3 of the 6 main characters are dark skinned.
Yeah, I make fun of this later in the comic, but for some reason I just liked the idea of Nikki being afraid of Grant in the first like couple of chapters. Like, that is a fucking stupid idea.
The original idea with Grant was that he was like, people were going to assume that he was like this like cool like closed off loner.
Oh yeah, like he was the aloof kind of Sasuke type.
Yeah, and like everyone thought he was just so awesome because he could fly.
Yeah, because that is something that we have worked on really heavily. Is like that was part of the original concept with Grant was that I get really sick of how in every single superhero story, if you have the ability to fly, well, there's nothing fucking special about you. Every superhero team has the ability has like
Yeah, it's like okay, there are a few other characters in this universe who are capable of like some degree of flight,
yeah.
but in terms of just like unrestricted flight, it's like Grant Marvel's man are it right now.
Oh yeah, like only two, and that was a big that was I make that a big deal because yeah I
Yeah,
don't
it's
want
like let's see, Mr. Atlanta, right?
yeah
It's like one he uses like implants, and two he can't fly very long.
yeah I think Serena can like can manage it, right?
She can like levitate. She can't like outright fly. She can just kind of like fling herself forward or just like hang in the air for a second.
It seems weird she hasn't done that yet.
She has a couple times. She did in Nine Eyes Fight.
Oh, okay. I didn't draw that one. That's probably why I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Grant, I did really specifically want to avoid like the Angel from the X-Men or the Hawkman thing of like if you can fly, you're the shitty one. I wanted the one who can fly to be like a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And also like I also did want to actually give him like really useful stuff you know in addition to that, and Martin was the one who came up with that particular aspect.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Okay, because basically we spent forever trying to think up like, okay, what would be a decent side ability to this?
Yeah, like oh, he can control air currents. He has telekinesis. What would be something that complements flight?
Yeah. And then I thought like, well, throughout the Sonic Scream thing, because Sindel does it.
Yeah, he was literally while we were brainstorming this, he was playing Mortal Kombat, and he was either fighting Sindel or playing as Sindel, and he just threw out like Sonic Scream. And
2011. I tell you, 2011. Which Mortal Kombat game would I have been playing at that point? It was probably Armageddon.
Are you sure it wasn't MK9, which came out in 2011?
Did it come out in 2011?
I'm almost positive it came out in 2011.
Well, keep in mind that we brainstormed all this well before 2011, though.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So I guess it would have been Armageddon.
Yeah, it probably was, because I remember it was at the I remember I was at the like old house at that time, and I didn't have like I don't think I even like I moved back here in like let's see, it would have been August 2010, I think. No, it wasn't August. It was like February. Yeah. Yeah, it's about February 2010 whenever I moved back here. So it was before that. It was probably Armageddon. Because Sindel's not in DC Universe.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, we had to. Sonic Scream, fucking nothing to do with actual flight.
yeah.
Like the other ones we were trying to brainstorm like had something to do with it, but like this was completely unconnected. But for some reason, that's the one we stuck with.
It fit the bird motif.
It really did, because I think we had the bird motif before we had that power.
Yeah, we did. Like, we had the Songbird name and the costume and stuff already.
Yeah, it's just something about that worked.
Yeah. Of course, the funny thing about that is in recent years it seems to be becoming a cliche in comics to give people who can fly Sonic screens. Didn't they do that with the Marvel Songbird?
I think that was already the thing. And for the record, I did not know there was already a superhero with that name.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was Marvel Star Child either.
Yeah, like I probably would have come up with another one for Grant. What would you have done?
I'm not sure.
Like, I mean, like right before, like, there's still time to change it, but like it's been set in stone for a while. Would you still change it?
Possibly. I don't know. War's been a mix of me changing stuff that I had planned for forever and me just sticking to stuff that I had planned for forever whenever I should have changed it.
Yeah. Like the funny part is the when I came up with the idea when I found out that there was a Marvel character named Songbird, it was when I was playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 because she was on the roster.
Yeah.
And I spent like the rest of the day really pissed off because
Yeah, I remember you being like really depressed over that.
yeah, because the comic had been, this was the comic had been running for a while.
Yeah.
Like he had already gotten like they already had the costumes and everything, and I was just like, fucking damn it, mother. I was just so depressed. Like, oh god damn it. I got over it when I realized I could make a pseudo blues team out of Songbird, the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, and Cyclops.
Yeah.
It helps that I was already using Mr. Fantastic as like my main because he's one of my favorite superheroes ever. Yeah, moving on. Holy fucking
I
god.
find it funny that like Grant's never mind.
No, what is it? What is it?
I find it funny that in Grant's like list of like his two potential like color schemes there.
Yeah.
He eventually wound up with something that like isn't really either of those.
Yeah. Yeah, blue black or black blue white was what he wound up going with for a while.
Yeah, but now his like current costume is like okay, it has white in it.
Yeah, but
it's mostly like a mix of light, dark blue, and yellow.
Oh yeah. And it took him forever to actually hiccups. It took him forever to actually get a symbol.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that took us a long time to settle on.
Yeah, it's harder than you think to come up with like a good kitschy symbol.
I think we had to do it again when we redesigned the costumes.
I think so. But yeah fucking
That's what the redesign was whenever we switched to the bird that got old suspiciously like the Twitter logo.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, isn't it? But all the same though, yeah, this fuck those cars are tiny.
Yeah. Honestly, I keep meaning to just try to like just stop at some point and just do like kind of a car boot camp.
Yeah. Because cars in general are just something that I really struggle with in terms of drawing.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, I've gotten better with it, like, especially when you look at back at this, they look like fucking really, really shitty $1 toy cars, like, barely carved out of wood.
Yeah.
Like, they look like Pinewood Derby cars.
Yeah.
But,
honestly, honestly, at some point I should just sit and like look through a bunch of pages of Misfile just to see how he draws cars.
honestly, that's sort of like the guy drawing Misfile being really good at cars. That's like if you ever see a person who's really, really good at drawing feet, and it turns out he also has a foot fetish.
Yeah, it wouldn't be especially surprising.
Like, it's like, I'm sure the guy who draws Misfile probably draws cars the same way, like, hentai artists draw sex scenes.
Yeah. On another note,
yeah,
I'm sure you regret showing Spencer here.
Yes, I do. Like, really, this was not a fucking surprise at all.
Oh, what happened to his rings?
I don't know. Like, I really wanted to sort of imply that he was rich, but I think he eventually quit wearing bling and just started doing it with attitude.
Yeah.
Spencer's a character I actually am very, very happy with because he came out like I think he was executed very nicely.
That said, this first chapter actually is like retroactively out of character for him.
Yeah, because it eventually became a character who wouldn't set up an assassination on somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would probably do something horrible to the senator, probably just not kill him.
Yeah, I do like at least like we did at least have him like kind of we did at least work in him saying like that he's really glad that they stopped him.
Yeah. Yeah, just
Jenny's actually really direct here.
He kind of is, yeah. But bunk beds, that was another thing. It was like oh god damn, the furniture in this fucking Christ. Bunk beds were another thing. It was just day one. I knew it was going to be in the comic, and I don't really know why. Something about bunk beds are like really little kiddish, and I just kind of felt like they fit here.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about this later day. So, who has which bunk? Like in like each combination here.
Oh, Lore has the bottom bunk, Jenny has the top. Nikki has the top bunk, and Grant has the bottom. Valerie.
You would figure Grant would have the top because he'd just fly to it.
No, like something about like I think because Nikki's younger, he wanted Nikki to have the bottom one, and also they mentioned earlier in that one page that we lingered on for way too long, that because Nikki's bunk has a window, when Nikki goes to sleep, for Grant to like practice flying, he'll just like fly over him out the window,
Yeah,
and that was like one of the things that was like really creeping him out about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm lying in bed, and sometimes I think he floats over me.
Yeah.
It's like
then there's the question of Heather and Valerie, and Andy and Vincent.
Andy and Vincent, I'm not sure about, but I'm pretty sure.
Andy and Vincent, I could see them kind of switching a bit.
Yeah, probably so. But with with Valerie and Heather, Heather has the bottom bunk.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because like I imagine, I don't think Heather can switch because she needs like Heather probably needs special sheets.
That and also probably like Heather being on top bunk might be a fire hazard.
Heather being anywhere is probably a fire hazard.
Yeah. I mean, at least specifically with this setup, there is.
With the lag, I'm sorry.
Valerie in between her and the ceiling.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. There'd be like Valerie with. Yeah.
It should be passing in a moment, but
Okay.
yeah, this is kind of
Okay.
weirdly. This is very weirdly direct.
Yeah. Granted, you kind of have to figure Jenny's probably seen other people like this.
Yeah, because I think we go into this a little bit with the stuff on Zandy, but yeah, it is probably weird for kids this young to be away from home.
We foreshadowed the Stargirl thing a long time in advance.
Yeah, we really did. Like the idea with Jenny was that she was always supposed to be into anime, and yeah.
Yeah.
But this is another thing where we reference immediately that Jenny has a single dad, that Jenny comes from like a one-parent household. Like it's not really like, I don't think we ever really took the time to explain it. We just kind of put it out there, and I like that nobody really had a problem or nobody really questioned it.
Yeah.
We don't even say whether or not like what the situation is with the mom. It's just like it's just her and her dad, and it's like again, it's like I kind of like that nobody really has a problem.
Yeah. But there's a good bit of that in general. There's nobody really questions, like nobody ever questions on Laura's parents either.
Yeah, Laura's parents are out of the picture too. Like nobody ever asked on that.
Yeah.
In general, actually, that's one thing I actually kind of like about the group. Like they all kind of have different positions. Like none of their families are like typical. Like
Yeah.
I mean, like not typical, but none of them are really the same.
Yeah.
Andy's family is like little.
It's like the closest is that like, yeah, the closest is that half of them have the two parents and a sibling and one sibling.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's all right. But yeah, that was always like that's one aspect of it that I did really like, because that felt very real, especially in a lot of not even superhero comics, just stories in general. There's this. What is that trope where like nobody has any siblings, nobody has any grandparents?
Yeah.
Like everyone in like a story will just have parents because you can't not have parents, and they probably won't ever show up.
Or they'll be dead.
Yeah, and especially for superheroes, because superheroes almost never have siblings, or if they do, they're always retconned into existence because they were originally conceived as not having siblings.
Yeah. Actually, come to think of it, I think the only like main characters that are comics who don't have any siblings. Let's see, Alex, Anna, Grant. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, Jenny.
Oh yeah, Jenny, duh. But yeah, I think other than...
And honestly, I wouldn't rule it out with Anna. Like, I wouldn't rule it out. It's just, if so, I get the sense her family isn't around.
Yeah. Jenny's family situation, like, we haven't gone into it, but, like, it's there is an explanation for why she only has a dad, and like it's kind of there's some complications to it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like we intended to include it.
Oh yeah, like it's gonna come up. We just like it's gonna wait for a bit.
Yeah. Actually, on the like missing parents thing, though, like even like across our comments, like not many of our main characters are actually missing their parents.
No, and that is something I'm especially proud of because, oh Jesus God, like I cannot count the number of comics that like superhero parents, like superheroes who have both sets of like just one living parent.
Yeah.
I think Superman, more or less, for all intents and purposes, Spider-Man, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, at least when I was bringing up the sibling thing, I did actually pause and think, like, oh no, wait, pretty much every single X-Man has an evil sibling.
If this counts, Raven has both parents.
My dad's an evil demon who wants to destroy the world, but he exists.
Yeah.
That is usually the exception. Like, if the parent is evil, then he's still alive.
Yeah. It's like, I think the only like ones who just plain don't have any parents in the picture are Laura and Serena.
Laura?
I said Lore.
Oh, okay, Laura. I remember thinking like, no, her dad's still around.
I said Laura and Serena.
Yeah, yeah, but Laura's no. Even then, she still has a guardian.
Yeah.
That's
so does Serena.
Yeah. But that's kind of the weird thing about. You get the feeling it's just so you can avoid the inevitable conversation of having to explain to your parents that you're a superhero. Because even if you're an adult, that's a weird fucking conversation to have.
Yeah.
Like, it honestly would have been easy to make the kids orphans.
Yeah.
Like, this is some sort of superpowered orphanage.
Yeah, honestly, it actually prevents complications coming up later.
Yeah, because we have plans involving their parents.
Who is Mrs. Beauvoir?
I imagine she's the person who... I think she's the head of, like, the cafeteria.
Mm.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff planned that we never really went into.
Yeah, honestly, there are kind of like a few different like members of the like staff at this place that we've just never seen. We had in mind.
Yeah.
Like we had this whole thing in mind involving the security guard.
Yeah, like the security guard who has popped up. Like he does still exist. He shows up every once in a while, but like he was originally had like this backstory of like he used to be a boxer and then he's like kind of came out of retirement because this is like kind of a cushy job.
Yeah.
Like his name was Bernie and everything. It's like he never really showed up again. That said, I do actually kind of prefer this idea of just not going into the staff very much, as opposed to the X-Men constantly like awkwardly trying to insist that everyone in the school is part of a family.
Yeah.
Because I really, you can do the whole we're a family thing, but you have to earn it.
Yeah.
Because I really do like that trope when it's done well. If it's done poorly,
If it's done poorly, it's Suicide Squad.
Oh, fuck. God, I wasn't even thinking about that, but that is one of the worst examples. Like, these people are not a family. They're just a bunch of assholes who are working together. Even SVU, which has in the recent seasons, I fucking hate this show, by the way.
Yeah, honestly, like the post like Stabler stuff, like
Yeah.
honestly, it's become kind of unwatchable.
Which you would think would be the opposite, but no.
Yeah. It's not the fact that it's like gotten so focused on just like day-to-day life.
Yeah, but they do at least try to emphasize the family thing more, but I'm still not really buying it. You're just a bunch of assholes who work together.
Yeah.
And even House, like, maybe because it didn't go into it that heavily, you kind of bought it a little bit with that. It helps that they also made fun of it.
Yeah.
Like, there was a bit in House where, Wilson is trying to talk to House about how the team basically is his family for all intents and purposes. It's just like, you can't spend that much time a week with these people and not think of them as your family. And he pauses and he just says, "That's a good point. Excuse me, I'm going to go tell Chase and Cameron that sleeping together is against God's will."
Nice. Yeah, I actually kind of totally forgot that first Lord Igniter.
Wait, what?
I actually kind of forgot that, like, at first Lord, like, didn't light, didn't he?
Yeah, I totally forgot about that too. I do remember this whole thing with Andy because, like, yeah, I did want to talk about this. This was kind of the idea that Andy does feel sad, and he does feel mixed up at times, but he just tries to cover it up with humor. And I think, again, that's kind of why he likes Lore that much, is because Lore kind of needs that sort of humorous bent.
Yeah, honestly, Lore seems to have a bit of a depressed streak.
Yeah, which I like. I want to try to go into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this is actually kind of timely because in the latest chapter, he mentions nothing's ever serious if you can laugh at it, which is kind of like more or less Andy's motto. And he mentions here that it's from his mom. And in the latest chapter, his mom actually shows up, and we see. And I tried to kind of imply that that's where his sense of humor comes from.
Yeah, and she even said it herself.
Yeah. Like all of, like, Andy's ability to make jokes comes from her, and I just kind of liked that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this first chapter's Lore is especially down, and I think it's just she's having an especially hard time being at the center. Like, she especially doesn't know what to make of the fact that she has superpowers now. I don't even remember what came after this chapter. And why is this not loading?
What is it?
This page is not loading. I have the feeling my connection is about to cock off.
Strange, it loaded for me.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hang on. Okay, Google loads, so it might just be Comic Theory.
Yeah, it's loading for me.
God damn it, this is the worst.
You're trying to rip link to it.
Okay. This is not a fucking night for commentaries, mate.
Apparently. Well. Did switch to DeviantArt. We have a mirror for a reason.
Yeah, we'll have to use the mirror. I'm sure as soon as we switch, this is going to start working for us again.
Probably.
Yeah, thank you. Alright. Oh yeah, like I did... Again, Dolores was just kind of something I had in mind for Lore.
Yeah. Speaking of things I had in mind for Lore, this might actually be a good time to go into, kind of
the original backstory?
No, I wouldn't go into that at all, because it still relates a lot to what we got planned.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, I really...
No, I was gonna say go into the pony thing.
Oh, the pony thing. Oh, right. I thought you were gonna mention Lore's original name.
Yeah.
That was kind of a what was I thinking kind of idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to bring it up, but
Yeah.
yeah, the pony thing. I think we just mentioned. I think it came from an RP, didn't it?
No, it was an idea before that. It just like some of the stuff with it. It's just the fact that like originally it was just come up with a kind of funny because originally it was kind of come up with just like a stereotypical little girl kind of interest.
Yeah, little girls will like ponies. We'll just make her a pony fan, and then I think shortly after the comics started, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic started playing.
Yeah.
And the two of us became giant-ass bronies.
Yeah.
And so now we're putting in, like, all this, like, informed pony stuff. Like, we have her reference the show and reference specific songs, and...
Yeah.
Just, wow, that worked out nicely.
An actual additional coincidence for that is that the show and War have the same anniversary. Like, they started the same day.
Awesome. But, I honestly do think that the pony thing came from an RP, because I remember, like, very specifically, like, an RP, like, a role play that we had done, like, someone had, like, just given the Blues Kids a bunch of toys, and she just got way into playing with ponies.
Might have been.
I don't remember where the Trixie thing came from. I think it mostly just because I kind of like Trixie, and I especially like the way her color scheme looks on Lore.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah. Let's go over with Grant. You can this is again kind of the problem with the fact that Grant, Valerie, and Nikki don't really connect with the whole story going on with Andy and Lore, which is really the heart of this whole chapter.
Yeah. Honestly, it probably should have also been Nikki's first day.
It definitely should have been, because we could have done so much with that idea. And like, I like the idea that Jenny is like familiar and friendly with everyone.
Yeah.
And also, I like the idea that it's like, and one idea that I really like, which I really kind of want to explore at some point, is the fact that Grant and Valerie have been at the school since day one.
Mm.
Like, they were two of the first people to ever like be enrolled at the school. I do actually remember having a fan like question like, how can Grant? Oh, sorry.
That said, it is kind of funny. It's maybe a year for Grant to learn her name.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I did have a fan asking me specifically, like, okay, how does Grant know what her power is but not her name?
Yeah.
And the idea is, like, just Grant is, like, shy and kind of, like, withdrawn from people in general.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of easy for me to get because I have always been really bad at remembering people's names.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you actually picked that up?
What?
You actually picked that up about me?
Oh, no, I'm saying, I mean, I have that too.
Huh.
A good example of that is, like, watch. It took me forever to remember which one was Robin.
Oh, they're both stupid muggle friends.
Yeah.
But,
There's something I should say relating to that relates to comics, but it'd probably be better to save for another time.
Yeah, I can think of another subject related to forgetting people's names that I also want to bring up.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably the same thing.
Yeah. Honestly, the chapter does do a good job of just kind of playing everybody off of everybody at least a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. And I do like the touch of, like, Grant. Like, we do see here that Grant is pretty shy and just doesn't really know how to kind of talk to Valerie. Like, again, that was kind of always the idea with this, that he was sort of a shrinking violet.
Yeah. Wow, we actually tip our hands on what its powers are this early.
It was kind of obvious, like, when he was writing in the little, like, the book. Like, it was kind of like, I remember, like, some fan somewhere, it was probably on DeviantArt, just, like, saying, like, so his power is flight, right?
Yeah.
Because it was just so obvious from like, the names he was writing down. Hang on. What were they?
I know, that's something where you can see Vincent's name on the sun in the background of the snowman.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, for a long time there were people saying, like, okay, show us the roommate or whatever. You could see Vincent in crowd shots.
Yeah, but it wasn't really signified as to being him, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, he looks like a frozen corpse.
He kind of does.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I color him. Like,
freaky.
Yeah. I just wanted to look like frosted over.
Cool. Songbird is crossed out. I guess he didn't like that name.
Yeah.
Which sucks because it's actually way better than any of the other names that he has written down. That was probably the joke.
Yeah. How do you want to bet on that page?
I know. We're apparently way too into that page.
Right.
But I do like that Valerie is... I think that was kind of like a natural thing to do with siblings. Valerie is willing to look into what was bothering her brother, but at the same time, like, not that hard.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, like, it's not his first day, but Nikki hasn't been at the school that long, and Valerie kind of doesn't really like the idea that she's being expected to look after him.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think the comic does do a good job of, like, walking the line between, like, Heather and Nikki's relationship obviously being strained, but at the same time, it's like it's not that they dislike each other.
Yeah. Valerie, Heather.
Yeah, what'd I say?
Heather. Valerie and Nikki.
Yeah.
You said Heather and Nikki.
Okay, yeah, it's weird.
Good God. Wow, that was okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We're both somewhat overboard tonight.
Yeah. Again, this is not our night for commentaries.
Yeah.
It's too late to quit now. We've been talking for an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay. I don't think we're even done with. Yeah, I don't think we're even like halfway done with this chapter, much less the next one that we were gonna do with it.
Maybe we shouldn't do the next chapter with it, because, okay, the first chapter was just way too long. And so I think we had to, I decided like halfway through to like, okay, we'll just split it in half. Like,
I think the chapter had already been like fully written before we split it.
I think it was like mostly written before we split it. It was like past the splitting point, definitely.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of did like this one chapter of just everyone getting to know each other at the school, and then the next chapter was like their first superhero outing.
Okay, just looked, and we're actually nearly done with the first chapter, so.
Yeah. Okay. And honestly, like if I had known going in that the first chapter was just going to be everyone at the school, I probably wouldn't have included those 2 pages with Jake.
Yeah.
Because again, it was like really hard to work him in.
Yeah.
I actually remember like at one point I tried scripting a scene with Jake where he was like depressed and sitting at a park.
Yeah.
It was just hard to work in because he's not really bouncing off anybody.
Yeah.
And that was one aspect about the character that I think honestly did improve, is that to me Jake has become a character who works because he says very little. He's kind of like Batman that way, and that you can just sort of put it in front of him, and you don't really need him to comment on. He can just look at Stoneface, and you can see that he does internalize it.
Yeah.
Without really needing to be like he says much by saying very little. Christ. See, we actually do mention the legs being long thing, and it's just at this point, it really doesn't play up that much in the artwork.
I find it kind of funny that at this point, Laura and Andy are about the same height.
Yeah, because the joke about Laura being like really short eventually spawned out. I actually do remember I kind of had to start drawing her shorter to make the joke work.
Yeah. But yeah, it was originally kind of an idea of like just for simplicity's sake. It was just like 3 of them were like one height, 3 of them were the other height.
Yeah. Nikki, Andy, and Laura were the same height. Jenny, Valerie, and Grant were the same height. And I honestly remembered thinking, like, that is as good as I can get it. I cannot do it more complex than that.
Yeah.
And now, in the comics, like, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't think, at this point in the comics, I don't think you could even tell that those were really bicycle shorts.
Yeah.
But that was always an idea. It was just like, no, if you had super speed, that's probably what you would wear.
Yeah.
There was also an idea that before she got super speed, Ginny probably wore skirts. And like afterwards, like, no, that's not really practical.
Yeah.
No. Okay, wait. What the fuck?
Start with one.
Oh, okay. Something was wrong.
It doesn't seem to be able to store across pages.
Okay.
Once I don't grab my link.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Okay. What?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
And again, Daredevil.
Alright, yeah.
Ginny, Lore, you saw him do acrobatics earlier in the chapter. How do you not know what his power is?
Yeah.
I think originally, like, this was another thing. I think Grant and Andy were the 2 powers I wanted the most at the beginning, because I really liked the idea of flight being a big deal, and I really liked the idea of, like, having an acrobatic Spider-Man kind of hero.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny, because honestly, Grant's powers kind of render Andy's a little bit overshadowed.
A little bit. Like, I think Andy, in general, like, I think between Lore and Grant, Andy does kind of come off like sort of less useful, but I think he does have a purpose. That is one reason I wanted to
He's a utility player.
yeah, yeah, he's a utility player. That's one reason I wanted to give. I've considered giving him a weapon
Yeah.
because he kind of does need it to sort of like keep up with everyone else, and I do think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I also had to establish that Andy does have enhanced strength of his own.
Yeah. If anything, at times wondered if the enhanced strength is handed out a little too liberally in this comic. It seems to have been scaled back a bit.
Say again?
So if anything, at times I've wondered if like the super strength is a little too like liberally handed out in this comic.
Yeah,
But then half the group can do it.
true. But Lore is Grant for Andy. I think Lore, and to a lesser extent Andy, are kind of the only ones where it really matters.
Yeah.
And Ginny, but with Ginny it's only with her legs.
Yeah. I don't know Grant. I mean, he's.
I think his body is just kind of tough because of flight.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're kind of reaching a point with the artwork. I think the artwork is suddenly hit like some kind of decline because it seems way worse suddenly.
Yeah.
It's not like this is really that great anyway. And this is a sign that even though we eventually became bronies, this was before this stuff was written before we were bronies because otherwise she would have a character from the show,
Yeah.
not just like a random.
Honestly, it seems like kind of a character thing because I can kind of buy like, yeah, the best Lore could afford was just an off-brand.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing with like Lore is like she doesn't have that much money, or her sister works at a diner.
Yeah, and it's paying college tuition on it.
Oh no. I found that too hard to believe. So in the current chapter that's running, like I have her mention that she's on full academic scholarship.
Okay.
Which I also kind of like because that probably means that even though she doesn't have to pay for it, she is probably stressed way the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because I've met people who have been on scholarships and it's just like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Hell, not even scholarships, but like financial aid for colleges depends entirely on your grade. So I think if you get, I don't remember if it's below a B or below a C at the college I was at, but like if your GPA slips below a certain grade, like you are cut off from financial aid.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of a stress. So it's really a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And oh, I forgot about this scene.
Yeah.
This was going to be like a running gag where like people thought Grant was a girl because he had long hair, and I implied that he had a high pitched voice, but like I think this was the only time it came up.
Right. Honestly, it probably wouldn't really make sense anymore because of how Grant's drawn is kind of like bulky.
Yeah, like which I don't know. Do you think we should scale that back?
Eh.
I haven't worried about that because I don't want him to look too bulky.
I don't know, I did not see him kind of like that thin, muscular.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't really work anymore. I've got one fucking fan who won't let that die. Like he brings up like, so Grant's supposed to be girly or something to me a lot.
Yeah.
I also kind of do like the touch that Grant apparently just keeps tabs on every single student.
Yeah.
Like find out powers later.
Yeah. I wonder if like just okay. So anyway, why is like Superman? Does he also just have a side that's like really big on Rorschach?
That's a good question because I get the feeling like this is just.
We know he's Red Watchman.
Yeah, that's a good point. The weird thing is, I kind of want to do a joke about him doing war journals, but I don't know if the joke would be too stupid or not.
Yeah.
Because war journals can be really interesting in superhero comics, but they can be really, really stupid.
Yeah.
my god! Actually, I just got an idea for how that could work, but it would be really it would be in character for Grant to do, but it would be really stupid at the same time.
Okay.
He makes war journals, but they're on a public blog that anyone can read.
Yeah, I could easily see him doing that.
I know. I might have to consider this.
Yeah.
Uh. Oh. I don't know why I tried to bother. I tried to, like, be coy about Heather's powers.
Yeah.
Like, everyone. I think after a point, I stopped even bothering to hide it and just kind of didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
But, like,
just kind of one of those things of, like, no sense actually showing it until a chapter where it's, like, poignant to do so.
Yeah.
But.
Because I didn't really like that first image where you first saw her burning.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, for a while I was just, like, kind of coy about it. Like, oh, I'm not going to say what her power is.
Yeah.
Her name is basically Heater Burns, but no.
Yeah. It does seem really on point that her dad's a firefighter.
Yeah, but I kind of... Like, that was kind of meant to contrast Valerie's whole thing, because, yeah, Valerie's parents really are distant with her because of her superpowers, but Jenny's superpower is, like, kind of directly in contrast with her dad's job, and she has a really strong relationship with her parents.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the fact that her powers are just, like, difficult to manage is the only reason she's probably at the school.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, the water girl.
Yeah.
I think it's Tack Talk.
Okay. So her parents' lifeguards.
They are now. Like, yeah, her dad is David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't want to do that just so we can make that joke.
Nah, trust see then next year whenever they do the reboot, he'd be The Rock.
I actually did not know they were doing that.
Yeah. May 19th.
Honestly, it's honestly not bad casting.
Yeah.
I really want that Jean-Luc Picard poster.
Yeah.
That's based on an actual picture of him I saw. I was like, it's like one of the images that pops up during the Picard song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know we did all, like, these little, like, everyone kind of settling down kind of things. This is a nice touch for, like, the ending of the chapter. I don't even think this is what we were really going for.
Yeah. I remember originally, right?
Yeah?
Jakes came before Grant, and then we just, like, swapped them last minute.
Yeah, because they both kind of have this air of, like, ooh, what's going to happen next time?
Yeah. Also, I like that even though he had it scribbled out earlier, now he has the letters SB on the picture there.
Yeah, I guess maybe he did come around to it.
Yeah.
Admittedly, okay, I can kind of get why Nikki would be afraid of him. He's acting this intentionally creepy.
Yeah.
But this is like I kind of wanted to go into for Grant, because, like, he does kind of like the idea that he has a secret identity.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this secret side of him that nobody knows about. That's just so cool.
Yeah.
And this was the final page of the chapter. It's like, yeah, remember Jake, who had one fucking page earlier?
Yeah. Then it was, hey, that sword that doesn't show up again for, like, 400 pages?
Yeah, like, that was one thing about Jake's backstory. Like, where he got that sword and why he has it is, like, a really long, complicated story, but you don't... Like, the fact that he even has it doesn't show up again for, like, until... What chapters tangle up in blue? 14?
16.
Yeah. Now wait, it showed up in the page chapter before that, so chapter 15.
Yeah.
We just don't see Jake's, like, room in the center very much.
Yeah.
Or ever.
That's been in worse situations, and it's like, yeah, that's something we'll come back around to.
Yeah, he's been in Jake has had an interesting life.
Yeah, we honestly we have like a lot planned out about Jake the Fat Thread, like a ton of stuff in mind for him, and it's just like hardly any of it has ever come up.
Yeah, I honestly think like I think we kind of recently realized like, oh shit, we need to go into this, and so we've been dropping more and more hints on it.
Yeah.
Because it's much more present now than it only recently became kind of like apparent with everyone. But yeah, that was the first chapter. Yeah, I would definitely do it very, very differently if I did it again.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah, though I do think there is like some actual like stuff of quality there.
Yeah. Like honestly, I kind of forgot how good a lot of this, like these little bits were.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you want to try Blue Fire Baptism? Looking at 20 pages.
Blue Fire Baptism, Chapter 2. We've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I could probably shut this down and like get a run or something.
Yeah. It's not funny. We hoped before you were saying like I don't really know what the one chapter can say not done.
Yeah, but like again, I forgot how good that first, and of course now it's fucking working again, motherfucker.
Dark.
But yeah, I kind of forgot. The first chapter had more good in it than I remembered.
Yeah.
I even kind of like the name, the Blue Children, because that was just what that was one of the ideas that we were going to call the chapter at first, like one of like the comic itself, like one of the proposed.
It took forever to settle on a title.
Yeah, we had like 4 or 5 different titles like in mind for this. The only one I remember is the Blue Children. There was a bunch.
Yeah.
Because for what was probably literally over a year, we just called it Blues.
Which is still mostly what we do.
Yeah, well, that's like shorthand, but
yeah,
like the weird thing is when talking about Writer's Reign, we usually call it War.
Yeah.
But I think the weird thing is that's mostly sorry, that's mostly you, and like whenever I do like the WAR thing in text, but I always read that in my brain as Writer's Reign.
Yeah.
Like I never call it war, even.
Oh, there are times whenever I have to write out the word war, and I will accidentally capitalize the R.
Nice. I kind of wish you were still like I kind of wish you were like in school or something during this this so the American forces during the Second World War.
Yeah, very much. But that'd be kind of awkward given install. I usually wrote in cursive. Which was kind of funny. I was in like grade school, middle school, whatever. Is constantly hearing like, yeah, in high school everyone writes cursive. You'll only ever write cursive. That is, the high school half my classmates can't read cursive.
Can't read it seems a little bit strange.
Yeah.
Like wait, like not at all, or just like the way most people read it, because it is hard to read like a lot of people's cursive handwriting.
Yeah. Like didn't know what letters were what without like having to focus on it, so it took forever.
Yeah. Actually, do you remember? Did you have that thing when you first learned to read cursive in grade school, where you first learned to write it, you couldn't not write it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of I don't know this problem now, but there for a while, I did high school especially.
Yeah.
I had this bad tendency of like I would start out writing a manuscript and then just switch to cursive halfway through without realizing it.
Yeah. There's something about it is like it's hard to not do once you learn to do it, because it's like it gets in your brain.
Yeah.
There was a bit, I think when I was a kid, I was filling out an application to subscribe to Nintendo Power, and
Yeah.
I actually had to get my dad to do it, because like they had like the little boxes for every letter.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do that with because I was at the point where like I can't not write cursive.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that I wanted to bring up that I'm thinking about bringing back is that, like, for a while, the chapter cover and the second page of the comic had had little alt text that would come up whenever you held the mouse over it.
Yeah.
I dropped it because I was thinking, like, well, wouldn't that be weird in a it would be kind of weird me doing that if it was like a serious moment. I'm kind of wondering about bringing that back for like more irreverent chapters. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like okay. we certainly done series before in Blues, and we will do it again.
Oh yeah, there's some serious stuff coming up that I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, just like, trust me, Blues has gone dark before, it's gonna go dark again.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I honestly think Blues is kind of a. I think Blues might be a darker. At least at this point, I think it might be a darker chapter than Writer's Reign. I'm not sure.
Probably the. I don't know, War has kind of a more, like, dark undercurrent to it.
It does, and that's stuff I'm really looking. There's a lot of dark shit in War I'm looking forward to getting into.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we can touch on some of that, like Art's backstory.
yeah, like there's some stuff I can't bring up in commentary that I am really looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, backing up a little bit on the title thing, though.
Oh yeah.
I should really go into the subject of War's title at some point.
Oh, you want to do it now?
Oh yeah, I don't know if this is the best place for it, but basically, it took me forever to settle on a title for that comic.
I think you said that it was suggested to you by someone you were pitching it to.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where it's like it seems like kind of no duh, right?
Yeah. It was a case where I hadn't really realized the pun.
Yeah.
There are a few of those with War's cast. For instance, the fact that next door neighbors are the Wright family and the Phoenix family.
Oh my fucking god, Martin.
Yeah, like that wasn't intentional at all.
It's even spelt the same.
Yeah.
How the fuck have we never known? Oh god.
It's like, trust me, I've noticed. It's just it was not intentional at the time.
Wow. Oh well. Anyway, any final thoughts on this on Blues' startup?
Honestly, we talked about it for so long, I'm not really sure what else to say.
Yeah.
But it was interesting kind of revisiting it.
Yeah.
It does make me want to do more of these commentaries.
Yeah. I wasn't sure how much I would have to say about it, and I do kind of want to do the next chapter, or some of the upcoming chapters pretty soon. Honestly, one weird thing about the second chapters, I honestly think it's worse. It's more poorly drawn than the first one.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, I think I'd say the same thing for War.
For War, I'm not so sure about, because War's starting artwork was really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wait, when you say first chapter, you mean the prologue or the second chapter?
Well, I mean, kind of them consecutively. I mean, like, the second chapter... Actually, no. The second chapter probably does look better than the first chapter for War.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, either whenever we get into, like, the later chapters, where we don't have to spend the whole time talking about the art.
Yeah. I don't even know when that's going to be.
Yeah.
There are a couple of chapters in Blues that I am especially looking forward to talking about.
Yeah.
For Writer's Reign, too. Let me see what all do we have?
The next one for Writer's Reign is Black Flame, which... That one should be fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was one of the... That I think was like... That was a really good... That was... For what we were doing that early in the comic, that was really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should probably sign off. We've been talking for... just under an hour and a half.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this has been our ramble about the comics and other stuff and House and...
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
Yeah. Next time. Bye.
Bye.